Kirk, I don't know if you know this or not, but I am a recovering atheist.
What? You're a recovering atheist? Okay. Yeah, this I feel like Kirk Cameron's doing that thing where he's like, I used to be an atheist, whatever. I highly doubt that. But you know, I think he just thinks that like not being super religious is being an atheist. I don't know. Anyway, Michael Knowles and Kirk Cameron are going to try to make fun of atheists. You know, Kirk Cameron, he's trying to get him back, you know, because of that damn banana video made him so he looks so silly, and everybody joked about it. And you know, and so he's got to get him back. And you know who can help him do that? Michael Knowles. He's not silly and pathetic at this at all. I mean, no, he's good. He's very good. He's not a nerd. He's good at making fun of people and stuff. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna get into this. I am Brentley, and this is the Punk Apostate. Let's go. Look at him licking his lips, gearing up. He is licking those lips. He's just like, I'm sorry. I just, I couldn't help myself with the, I know everybody's like, oh God, oh, it's right in the earphones. That's way too loud. Brentley, come on. You're grossing me out. I'm either grossing you out or making you horny or making you want macaroni and cheese. One of the three. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't believe in souls. How could you not believe in souls? You have a soul. It was given to you as a gift from God. It makes up who you are. It must be terrible living a life where you don't believe the soul is a gift.
What is this? I don't know. Like they're like, oh no, we got to see their face. And he's like, make sure that you have a face while you're watching the video. Maybe do some kind of face while you're watching. I don't know if it's what they do, but it's weird that they focus so heavily on they're like, this I feel like should be big over here, and their face should be like small and kind of like what I'm doing. I don't know if you can see the screen that you're watching this on.
Better than being afraid of death because of an imaginary sky daddy, in my opinion.
Oh, sky daddy. What? Look at his face. I don't know why, but Kirk Cameron's expression like just cracked me up. He looks like he's a cartoon alien that's never experienced reality just ever, and his expression is just bewilderment at literally everything. You know.
Want to take a crack at that one, Kirk?
You want to take some crack, Kirk?
They say the body is a temple, and temples need incense. So my guest today, Mr. Kirk Cameron, suggested that we have a cigar. We're here. They say the body is a temple, and temples need incense. So my guest today, Mr. Kirk Cameron, suggested that we have a cigar. We're here having nice.
Are they making fun of their own religion? I thought y'all were supposed to be mocking atheists. Like you're making atheist jokes against yourselves, because you're like, oh man, it's so stupid that people say the body's a temple, because obviously it's not. That's silly. But if it were, a cigar would be like incense, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that it feels like they're making fun of their own religion. Am I don't know.
Cigars reacting to atheist TikToks, and I hope maybe we can shed a little light on some of the errors that they've fallen into. Take it away.
If you're an atheist, then what happens to you when you die? My plan is to donate anything that's still usable off. This includes my bone marrow, my retinas, my reproductive organs, and my internal organs. Anything that can't be used as a medical donation, I would like to be put into a biodegradable box as one final act of harm reduction for the environment. That's not what I meant. Oh, you meant my soul.
One final act of harm reduction for the environment. I like that. Oh, that's kind of cool. I have seen like these things where you get like put into like what looks like a potato sack, and then they plant you, or they plant a tree that would grow through. Like it would, the tree's roots would grow through your body, it basically enveloping you, as it were, and then you are that tree. Right, and then that's kind of cool. People can come visit you, but you as a tree or whatever, years to come, and that's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. I kind of like that idea. I don't know. What do you think?
Soul. I don't believe in souls. How could do not believe in souls.
Look at his face. He's like, oh, she doesn't believe in souls. Oh my God. I'm like, this hurts my heart. It hurts my heart to see that she doesn't believe in souls. I don't like that. It's just, it feels, I don't like it.
You have a soul. It was given to you as a gift from God. It makes up who you are.
Okay, Jim Carrey. What, can you bring down the overact? Come on.
Stuff like that makes me not believe in souls, because no one's ever been able to describe a soul to me that doesn't just sound like my consciousness or my personality, or use vague things like it's a gift that you should cherish. It must be terrible living a life where you don't believe a soul is a gift. Better than being afraid of death because of an imaginary sky daddy, in my opinion.
Want to take a crack at that one, Kirk?
So, I mean, I agree with everything that she said for the most part. I feel like donating your retinas, though. I feel like that was a bit too far. I don't know. I don't, I'll let the tree grow through my body with my retinas still intact. I don't know, but that's just me. Other than that, like what she's describing about the soul and stuff, and like how everybody's seems to be unable to, I don't know, describe what they mean by a soul. Without just making it, like she said, like it sounded like consciousness. Yeah, that's a good point. I want to see I wonder if they're actually going to refute that point, or just, do what they do and obfuscate.
I don't know if you know this or not, but I am a recovering atheist. And so there is a level of empathy that I have for this girl. And my heart goes out to her, because I too used to enjoy my sin so much that I would make up any number of excuses to deny the existence of God, the soul. And there's a lot of great arguments out there. Look at Christopher Hitchens. He could go all day long with most Christians. But
you want to maybe take a crack at those arguments? Maybe just take a crack at one instead of just acting like why she's an atheist, because that's why you used to be an atheist or whatever. But like, can you respond to anything she actually said?
At the end of the day, she made a comment about being afraid of a daddy figure.
Daddy's home.
She said, "I'd rather not." Okay, she was saying that I'd rather. What was it like? They were saying that they were so depressed that she didn't believe that souls were a gift, and she said, "I would rather not believe there was a gift, and instead of believing that." Or being afraid of death because of some evil sky daddy's going to punish me, something like that, which, okay, that's fine. But what is,
I wonder what that relationship with her dad might have been like.
Oh God. Okay. So it's like, it's her father. Where's your father, young lady? Okay. What did he do to you to make you such an atheist? Okay. Because there's no possible way you could come to these conclusions through logic and stuff. No, somebody hurt you. Who was it? Who hurt you? No, wait. I knew it. I knew they wouldn't actually engage with the fucking video at all. But
to cause her to think that that's where we're going with all of this, is to try to produce fear in the hearts of people for some abusive tyrant in the sky. That's not why I became a Christian when I used to be an atheist. I was motivated by gratitude, not by terror.
Yeah, give me evidence of God not existing in this world.
Which God? The Christian God?
Yes.
Do you believe in free will?
Yes, I do.
We just moving on. That was it. That was the response there. Okay, so nothing to do with anything she was saying. Just her dad must have hurt her, and that wasn't why he became a Christian. So Jesus.
I believe in free will.
Do you believe that God knows all?
Yes, I do believe that God knows all.
Okay. If God knows my future, if God knows the decisions I'm going to make, can I choose different?
Hey, if y'all don't mind, if you want to hit that like button, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate it if you can. It's a little button. It's like a thumbs up sort of thing. Just a little dealio down at the yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you got it. That was it. No, you nailed it. That was it. Thank you. Appreciate that.
From what God knows I'm going to choose.
I think so.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I did it right in the middle of what he was saying. I lost track of what they were.
If God knows my future, if God knows the decisions I'm going to make, can I choose differently from what God knows I'm going to choose?
I think so. Yeah, I would say yes.
Okay, well then God cannot be all-knowing. For him to be all-knowing, he must know my future. If he can't know my future, he can't be all-knowing.
Okay, yeah. So he's doing the paradox of like the free will in that whole thing. Because, and which I actually am, I actually agree with that. We say, like, if God knows like what you're going to choose, then it makes it so that you could not possibly choose otherwise. And they're like, you still chose it though, but like God just happens to know that you're going to choose that. And it's like, well, if God knows that I'm going to choose that, then I couldn't have chosen otherwise at all. So I didn't really have the free will. He decided already. It just feels like I made the choice myself. Anyway.
I think we've got to define terms of what we do. I think that the will is actually not free. I think the will is actually in bondage until it is set free. And so there's some nuancing there that we'd have to talk about. But how I'm able to make real choices, like I think I chose to not light my cigar, and you chose to light your cigar.
Yep.
And I think they were real choices that we made. I don't think that we're just mere robots. And yet at the same time, I believe.
Why did you choose? Why didn't you choose? Because this is the thing, like you're always going to go back and you can keep going like, well, why didn't you choose? Why didn't you? And just keep on going back. And at some point you're going to go, I don't know. I just didn't. And that's, that's going to be, what that kind of demonstrates that it removes your actual will. It's just an illusion of choice or whatever. But
that God in his omniscience knew the future. And somehow those two things coexist. I don't understand it. I don't know how, but that does.
Yeah, it's a lot that you don't understand. It's all right, buddy.
Doesn't make me deny one or the other because the scriptures say so. And that is my ultimate authority.
And then a really simple answer, like
I love that that he just comes out and says that. It's like, and because the scriptures say so. And that is the ultimate authority of everything. Okay. That's true truth. Okay. That's the truest of truthy truth is out there is the Bible is it. That's it. Just whatever the Bible says, that's, I'm building off of that. I don't care if it says donkeys talk and stuff, but I'm just going to decide that donkeys could have talked as long as like all of everything that I know to be true is suspended, as long as there's a God that could be suspending that sort of thing. So it's like Bible's true. Everything else, maybe, I don't know. But the Bible's absolute. That's absolute truth. Everything else, I don't know. But
a really basic level answer to his question.
How we doing? Is everybody doing all right? You feeling all right? It's a Saturday night. Yeah. Y'all partying? You out there, doing the club thing? What are you doing? You staying safe? Maybe make sure to say, get an Uber. All right. Don't drive like that. It's not cool, man. Especially if you live in a crowded area. Maybe if you live in like one of those rural areas where nobody's ever on the road, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what the rules are out there. I feel like they probably have looser rules when it comes to drinking and driving, but you shouldn't do it. That's my point. That was not, that was not a freebie there for that. Anyway, who won today? Let's see. Pandora's Pinata won. Hey, how you doing? Oi, mate. Oh, Pandora's Pinata must be British, or Irish. I don't know. Correct me on that. Let me know. So you got a license for a live that late? I know I don't usually do these, do I? But no, yeah, I just was in a mood, I was kind of just flipping through and I found one thing and then I ended up not doing it. I was going to do a Big Nick video. And then while I was bringing that video up to connect it to the StreamYard, I seen this fucking thing and I was like, shit, never mind. We got to redo everything because Kirk Cameron and Michael Knowles are going to try to mock Christians. And I just want to see this. I want to see it in live action here with all y'all. So that's what we're doing. That's what, that's it. So a second. Let's see. Lord Dissident. What's up, man? Said, I told you atheists. What? You calling me an assist? I mean, I do like that. That's probably, I would be more of an assist than a boobist if that's what you're referring to. I don't know. But just they're it's like a photo finish, but just slightly further, I think, is the ass. Anyway, let's see. She didn't like that. I told my assist that, and she didn't like that. I don't know what you got to put in quotes what it is that I'm that you're saying. That's I told your sister. Assist somehow became sister, and then she didn't like. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. What you're referring to. And Logan was third. Hey, what's up, dude? He said, hey, Bradley, I didn't see you over there on the side. I am. Yeah, I'm over here. I'm in the little purple box in the corner. Is it blue or purple? I don't know. It seems to change depending upon the lighting or something. I don't know. Heck, like said, I made a live. You did make a live. I know. I don't usually, like I said, I don't usually do them this late. For the most part, I feel like I do better during the day, but I'm trying something. So let's see how it goes. Maybe it'll be fun. I don't know. Maybe it'll suck. I don't know. Can't know until you try, right? Absence of logic said a better response to the prove God doesn't exist is to say something like, prove unicorns don't exist. Oh, you can't do it? So you have to believe in unicorns now. That actually is a good one. I do like that when you like swap it out. I usually go with leprechauns, you know, because I think leprechauns are adorable, you know, and I feel like they're so obviously not real that, and because unicorns, you don't know, you know, that actually, there could be a horse with a horn that shits rainbows. I don't know, you know, who knows? Could be. Maybe they, you know, seems pretty reasonable that they can exist and say, hey, what's up, dude? John's here. How you doing, man? And say yeah, I know, recovering atheists. It's a problem. I get it, you know, you get obsessive, right? And then you can't think about anything else except for logic and arguments. And you reread God is not great 7 times, and it starts getting in the way of work. You know, you can't work and stuff. You're too often talking about logical fallacies. You keep on saying actually, you know, you keep on doing that, and people get really annoyed. And so they ask you got to go to Atheist Anonymous, right? And that's where you get help. Like, if you say actually to me one more motherfucking time, I swear to God, cite Forrest Valkai one more goddamn time. I swear to God. Okay, I don't fucking care what Forrest said about whatever it is. Anyway,
about how God can know what we will do even before we freely choose to do it.
Okay. So it said smoking is definitely a sin in Kirk's belief system. That's what I was saying, right? I don't see how he can say, what a hypocrite. Why hasn't this caused an uproar? Like when Sandy Patty got a divorce, or when Amy Grant sang a song with baby in it. Are you fucking serious? Somebody got mad at Amy Grant because she said baby. I thought they loved babies. That was like their whole thing. Like it's kind of like their whole worldview is sort of surrounding just having shitloads of them, you know. But is it because you're calling somebody baby that's not an actual baby, and that's bearing false witness? I get it. Never mind. You know, I got there in my head. It took me a second, but figured it out. Yep. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think this should cut. Well, he's not lighting it too. He's just holding it. I just like to hold him, you know. Because I don't want to defile the temple thing, the thing we were making fun of at the very beginning there. I don't want to defile that, but I do like to hold it. Kind of smells good. Kind of smells like dirt, like kind of like a very flavorful dirt of some sort. I don't know. It smells weird, but
is just that God is outside of time and space. So if space-time is part of creation, as it manifestly is, I don't think he would deny that.
I love that. He said that like it's outside of time and space. I love that. I think it's Matt Dillahunty quote. It says like, when you describe God as something that exists outside of space and time, it is functionally indistinguishable from something that doesn't exist, or something like that, along those lines. But basically, if you say something is outside of time, it doesn't exist for any amount of time, and it is outside of space, meaning it doesn't take up any space in reality, that is indistinguishable from something that doesn't fucking exist. It's like my leprechauns. I can be like, well, hey, leprechauns exist outside of space and time. And it's like, yeah, that's how things that don't exist are. Yeah. You know, that tends to be where they reside, is outside of space and time, you know.
Then God, the creator, would necessarily be outside of that. And God enters into time and space in the person of our Lord, in, you know, the fullness of time in the Roman Empire, but he's also outside of space time.
For no reason, for the dumbest rate. Like, what? Why the Roman Empire of all the times to have a dude like that's the most important person to ever exist, and you need everybody to be very, like, you know, very cognizant of that whole situation that happened there. And it happened at a time when nobody had cameras. It was all oral traditions, very unreliable. You know, it's also a time when if somebody was able to do, like, I don't know, fucking what do they call it, like close-up magic or whatever, like they would be thought of as some kind of sorcerer or something like that. Like, it's at the same time that type of stuff, like you do a card trick, it would fuck them up. They'd be like, this guy's a god, he's a magic, you know. But that's the time that the all-powerful, all-knowing God of the fucking universe decided to make Jesus come into reality at that time and place. Just seems like a very bad idea.
So that's how, you know, it'd be I guess a way to try to conceptualize it is that God sees all of time at once, whereas we live in time because we're actually.
It's funny you mentioned those. Lord Dissident said they should have fumed cigars instead of tobacco. I actually want to get one of those. I really do, because I don't know if you know, I'm kind of fidgety. I like, I'm kind of just I'm a little bit, well, I'm insane probably, and so I fidget, I bite my nails, and I just, everything I can do, I can just, got to keep moving. I really want one of those, is my point, because I feel like they would help just with the fidgetiness, the fidgeted. The end. That's it. Now the fidgetiness that worked
within the creation. I guess he's never considered that.
3 reasons, among many, that I am an atheist.
Let me hear his whole thing. I'm sorry. I kept interrupting because y'all keep having very, good questions and points and everything. But
how God can know what we will do even before we freely choose to do it is just that God is outside of time and space. So
all magic, there's a magic for that, actually.
If space-time is part of creation, as it manifestly is, I don't think he would deny that, then God, the creator, would necessarily be outside of that.
Yes, he would absolutely deny that, because he doesn't believe that God was necessary to create space and time. So no, he's like, you would probably agree with that. No, he wouldn't, man.
And God enters into time and space in the person of our Lord in the fullness of time in the Roman Empire, but he's also outside of space-time. So that's
he exists within space-time, but is also outside of space-time. You fucking really, man? Okay.
How? It'd be I guess a way to try to conceptualize it is that God sees all of time at once, whereas we live
in Mr. Manhattan
in time because we're actually within the creation. I guess he's never considered that.
3 reasons.
I guess, yeah, that's it. He's never considered it.
Among many, that I am an atheist. Have you ever noticed that most people are the religion of their parents? You'd think that if there was one super obvious religion, then everyone would have converted to that by now. But instead, most people are the religion that their parents are affiliated with. If there is a God, then he must be a...
He's literally just smelling the fucking cigar, dude. Come on, talk about a waste of a cigar. And now nobody's going to want to use it. He's like, were you going to give that back to him? Oh, here you go. There's the thing. I was stiffing up my fucking nose the whole video. Like, he's not going to, what do you, like, oh, thank you. I'll put that back in the box. I'll give that to Ben. It'll be funny. It'll be funny. It'll be a gag. It'll be a gag. Maybe Matt. Maybe we'll do it to Matt. I don't know. Can you look a couple of them? I actually got a pretty big crew I can fuck with here.
Really horrible person. It's not uncommon to hear believers say, oh, God saved my baby, what a miracle, even though that same God is completely ignoring all of the babies dying in extreme poverty across the world. It seems to me like God favors those who already live in affluent societies who have access to great medical care. But if you bring this up to believers, they'll say some nonsense about how God has to test some people. There's also just no evidence that God exists. And sure, I've heard tons of personal anecdotes about miracles and seeing things that couldn't be explained, but to me, every time I hear a story like that, there's always a more logical explanation for the phenomenon. Some say the human body is evidence that God exists, but it's riddled with design issues. We get addicted easily, our eyes are too weak, we need surgery constantly, and before modern medicine, women died in childbirth.
So the first point, she says most people are...
There was quite a few points there, and I would love it if they could get to all of them, but I mean, one of them was literally the problem of evil, so that one kind of takes a minute usually. But let's see what they get to. Hold on, let me see somebody say something. Hey, Lago, what's up, dude? Punkists, what's up, dude? That's right. And the sequel one's here. What's up? Said I have a Mona Lisa, the real painting. I also lie a lot. I should be president. That's good. I always like it when you're responding to people trying to convince you that God exists by saying a lie, and then be like, "Do you believe me?" And then just see how silly the lie can get before they go, "Hold on now," and then you go, "Hold on, why didn't you accept that proposition? Is it because it's a more extraordinary claim now? All of a sudden, not now you're looking for evidence. It's kind of weird. Why is that?" Anyway, say the fast one. What's up, dude? Hey, sweet. I'm on what do you call it now? That other the gaming thing. I always forget. It's with the little purple thing. You see it? I forget. Twitch. It's what I do constantly. It's Twitch. It's that. I should have remembered just for that reason. But what's up, dude? How you doing, man? Thanks for watching from Twitch.
Or the religion of their parents, and maybe that's the case. Some people are unthinking about it,
it's the majority of the time it's the case, and that's why we always have to bring up. And this was one of the big ones for me when I was first deconverting. I remember catching one of those street epistemology videos, or maybe it was before street. I don't know. It was either an Eli Bosnick talking to somebody or making a point or something, or it was street epistemology. I remember them just bringing up the fact that if you lived somewhere else, don't you think you would be like, if you were raised in India, don't you think that you would be like talking about Vishnu just like you're talking about Jesus? And that thought just kind of like, oh yeah, like that's, you know, it's, if I were over there, I wouldn't be so sure that my religion here is true, because it's a cultural thing that is very specific to where you're at, and that just happens to be the specific God that you believe in, and that just makes it so unlikely to be true. It's unbelievable.
Lukewarm even in their religion. I know a lot of converts. I don't know about you. Much of the world was converted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the interesting things that sometimes we don't think about is that Christianity started not in the United States with Billy Graham. It started in the Middle East. I mean, this started in the heart of...
And not according to Mormons. It literally did. It happened in the United States. Okay, the Garden of Eden, that's in fucking Utah or some shit. Can you imagine? The Garden of Eden is in Utah. Anyway.
Different faith, right? And so much so that the founder of it, Jesus Christ, was accused of blasphemy and was crucified.
Also, she brings up the point of theology.
I mean, how long? I mean, I guess it took a long time. Absence of logic asks, how long did it take you to deconvert? I think once, so it was like, I don't know. It's like once the cards started to fall, it was pretty quick. You know what I mean? But like, I was homeschooled and heavily indoctrinated, right? And so I lived my whole life believing very fervently in God, the Christian God. I was a Calvary kid, went to Calvary Chapel, and was very involved. I went to church every single day. I played in all the youth bands I played in. And I was literally there Sunday through Sunday. Like I just every single day was at church. And so I was very dedicated to the faith, truly, totally believed it with my whole heart. And then had some situations happen where I was sort of like pushed out from the church because of a rumor, and I was in a Christian punk band, and they said that, you know, but anyway, somebody was rumored to have drank alcohol, and so they said our whole band was involved in alcohol, and so it got me like kicked out of all of my responsibilities and all that type of stuff. And but that wasn't what, you know, led me to atheism. I just left the church. But I was very isolated after that because of that. I didn't know how to behave. I didn't know how to interact with other people because I was, you know, it's raised the way that I was. And so it was really difficult for me just to talk to other people, you know, because it's just like when you're raised in such a heavily indoctrinated cult-like situation, and it's like everything will set you off. If somebody swears a little bit too much, you're like, oh my God, that's a bad person. He sets the F word just far too much. And that means he's probably okay with graping old grannies or something too for using that word too much, you know. So it's like it puts this huge divide up between you. And so I didn't know how to like interact with other people and everything like that. It was very difficult to find like a community to be a part of. So which is, you know, the main thing I was used to being around all the time. But I did find one with druggies. You know, they tend to be very accepting. It's crazy. And they don't judge you or anything like that, you know, as long as you got the 20 for the stuff or whatever. But no, but it took me a long time, I think, after that. And it was basically and I was homeless for a bit because my parents kicked me out for, you know, basically for moving out with a black woman. And, you know, that's the cardinal sin of living with a black woman that you're not married to. And so I couldn't move back in. And so I was homeless for a bit. Anyway, but still was a Christian all that time, still a Christian. None of that had any bearing on whether or not I was a Christian. I know I'm taking the long way to say this, but then Trump he started running for president, right? And I remember being like, this guy's insane, you know, like this is ridiculous. And I remembered all the stuff with Bill Clinton and all the how everybody was judging him for having, you know, getting head or whatever in the White House and stuff like that. And I was just like, I just felt like it was very hypocritical, and the stuff that he was saying about women, just all this shit. I was like, oh my God, I don't think I could ever defend this guy. And because I was a Christian, I always just automatically defended any Republicans because that was sort of just an automatic thing. Like, it's just part of the rules. You gotta, if you're a Christian, you gotta be a Republican. Those are the rules. Okay. And so I just mindlessly kind of like had my politics sort of prescribed to me by the religion. And I think once I started to kind of snap out of it with Trump, the dominoes just fell quite quickly, and I just had felt like I was brainwashed. You know, I was just like, oh shit, like I wasn't actually making any of my decisions politically and otherwise based off of anything other than what I'm supposed to do. Like it was just like I'm supposed to do this and supposed to do that, and then it just really felt like I was brainwashed. And then it did not take long. I think it took like maybe a year, and I was like, okay, I'm an atheist. That's it. It's over. And I did at that point kind of come across that God Awful Movies podcast, and so they kind of helped through humor, sort of like allow me to laugh my way out of my beliefs, thankfully. And you know, life's gotten a lot better ever since. Because the funny thing is, when I was like the most drug addicted, alcohol, you know, all that type of stuff addicted, I was like the most Christian at that time. And it just kept me kind of in that like addicted cycle of just going back to the drugs, going back to the streets, and then going back to church, and then going back to the streets, going back to the drugs. And it's just like this crazy cycle. And once I deconverted, that was when I was able to like step outside of the cycle. And I was like, holy shit, this was actually really helpful. And so I wanted to help other people. I forgot what you asked. What was the question again? This the deconvert thing. Yeah, that's whatever I just said that answered that. I don't know, but that if that helped at all. Did that help answer you? Anyway.
Odyssey, which you mentioned earlier, the problem of suffering. She says there's something unjust about this. People get sick and they die. But I guess then my question would be, how do you know that's unjust?
That's right. She's just assuming there's such
a thing. It's a mathematical equation. Just is like fair. Fairness is just equal outcomes. Like this is not difficult, man. It's a mathematical equation. It's like it's objectively unfair. It's objective that this kid over here is starving to death while this kid over here is well fed. That's objective. We need to, like, one is starving, one isn't. What do you mean? Like, well, how do you even know? Like, what? Based on what? Based on fucking math, man. What do you mean? Like, just based on like the obvious reality that this person's starving, this person isn't. You know,
is justice. She's also borrowing from the Christian worldview in order to make that statement. Yeah. So in a sense, she's like a kleptomaniac who's reaching into the house of the people she's disagreeing with, grabbing their stuff, and then framing an argument against them.
Right.
What? Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me take that back.
Statement. Yeah. So in a sense, she's like a kleptomaniac.
How do you know that's unjust? That's
right. She's just assuming there's such a thing as justice. She's also borrowing from the Christian worldview in order to make that statement. Yeah. So in a sense, she's like a kleptomaniac who's reaching into the house of the people she's disagreeing with.
How is she stealing from Christianity to just say that there's people that starve in one part of the world, and then another part of the world, people are not starving. And the people in the place where they are not starving, like, God must really like us. You know, and she's like saying that's why they believe in God so fervently, is because they've kind of got it so good and all of their resources are everywhere. It makes sense that they would go, oh, I must be liked by God better because my kids aren't starving. But they can't answer the question of, but why are there some kids that are starving? And like, how do you know that's bad or that's unjust? Like, are you fucking dumb? Really? Seriously? You know, again, because of math. Because somebody has food and somebody doesn't. And it's like, why? And you're just like, I don't know. There's a plan, maybe, you know, God, that the starving child in Africa, that, you know, somebody learned a valuable lesson through that starving child. Go fuck yourself. Really? Like, that's really your answer?
Grabbing their stuff and then framing an argument against them.
Right.
Yeah!
Okay, cool. All right, John said, thanks for thanks. Absence Logic said, thanks for sharing, dude. I appreciate your explanation. All right, cool. No, yeah, I didn't know if I went too long on that. But yeah, it's a crazy ride. Let me just say, yeah. But I'm way better for being a good skeptic. I was like one of those people that believed everything. You know, if I trusted the person that told me, it was true. And that was my epistemology. That was like my epistemological standard, was just, do I trust the person that told me? Because that was how I understood truth works according to the way I was raised. You know, all the people like, oh, I trust my pastor. They got to be right. They got to be right because I trust them. They could say that a fucking donkey had a goddamn debate with a guy and won. And I'd be like, but that pastor, man, I trust that guy. That's, you know, so it's got to be true. And it's like getting my head out of that insanity of just believing things as long as the person that that told me it was somebody I trusted was very difficult. But once I did get out of that and was like, oh no, I need to have reasons to think things, it was very helpful, you know, and it helped me in every aspect of my life. And my life has honestly continuously gotten better and better ever since that deconversion happened.
Live in a fallen creation. And there is entropy, there is disease, there's all sorts of things that have come as a result of rebellion against the God whose existence you deny.
What is happening to you? You'll see. You'll see, too. You'll all see. You'll all see.
I was recently doing an interview for my book, Born to be Brave, talking about revivals and great awakenings and spiritual comebacks of nations. And the interviewer relayed a quote to me from Richard Dawkins. And he was asked, what kind of civilization or world would you like to live in if you could choose any of them? And he said, oh, I'd like to live in a Christian world. And he says, but I don't care that whether or not people go to church and believe in the resurrection. I thought to myself, that is the most foolish thing in the world you could say. That is saying.
I'm so confused by this whole time. Like, first of all, like, what are they responding to a fucking video now? Like, or did they just skip that part? And he's like, anyway, about my book that I'm selling. Oh, here it is. I'm going to talk about something completely unrelated, and there's no segue that makes any sense from anything that we've discussed prior. And hold on, what are you saying? So the person said they wanted to live in a Christian world. Define Christian, because you know Christians were the same people that were like burning witches and shit, right? Like that's like, what do you mean by Christian?
I don't care that whether or not people go to church and believe in the resurrection. I thought to myself, that is the most foolish thing in the world you could say. That is saying that you like a Christian world, but you don't care that church attendance is declining is like saying that you like produce, but don't care that all the farms are shutting down.
It's calling for an effect without a cause, which is kind of like the people who acknowledge the existence of the world, but won't acknowledge the existence of the world's creator.
Oh my God. Can you demonstrate the creator, man? Like, that's the problem. You're just pointing to the world and going, God created this. Like, look how obvious it is, because everything has to have a creator, and there's the world right there. So who created it? And it's like, that's not how anything works. Like, you're just not demonstrating that the thing that you believe is actually true. That's all I'd really like is just, can you just demonstrate how you know what you think you know about what you think you know? Could we do that? That'd be great.
Next one.
Do you believe in God?
No.
All right. Are you an atheist?
Yes.
Okay.
I love that. It's like, do you believe in God? No. Okay. So like, are you an atheist?
What made you stop believing in God?
I never believed in it.
It's another like assumption. So why did you stop believing in God? What bad thing happened to you? What did your dad do to you? Where's your dad? I'm going to Dr. Drew this thing for a second. Where's your dad? What's the deal with him? See in your life or no?
From the beginning.
Okay. Did you have any religion at any point?
No.
Okay. Do you believe in an afterlife?
No.
Okay. Do you believe in scientific theory of evolution?
No.
Okay. What do you
Dude, this guy just doesn't believe anything. He's like, I actually believe we're in the Matrix. That's it. Yeah. And it was alien overlords that created us or something. And we didn't evolve slowly over time through a process of natural selection.
think man came from?
I'll try not to think of it. It's beyond me.
Okay, cool.
This guy's not going great for the atheists out there. It's not sounding. So we're not. You can keep this one. He's not ours. Yeah, I try not to think. That's just something that, I don't do too much of that already. Okay, what do you think alcohol's for? You know what I'm saying? I don't like thinking.
Any words you'd like to say to people?
Anyway,
it all gets summed up in that one line. I try not to think.
Don't worry.
Was that an atheist TikTok? That didn't feel like it. That felt like a Christian TikTok. And you guys are going, yup. Yeah, totally. Got him. Because they don't want to think. That dude did not sound like an atheist. It sounded like somebody pretending to be an atheist, to be honest.
Be happy.
That's the existential trap that so many young people have found themselves in. I'm going to smoke something or I'm going to drink something. I'm not going to think too much because
My back. Oh, my camera went out. Sorry. Should come back on.
Confuses me, or it depresses me, or it scares me.
Or it's rude. Some people think it's rude to follow ideas to their logical conclusions and then come to firm convictions. They think it's kind of like judgy or something.
Because it's judgy. But even judging a person for that is judgy.
You're right.
I don't know what you
Sorry
always
about that. A little technical thing for a second.
have to be judging me because I only
Let
believe
me go back. I was sort of distracted there.
I try not to think.
Don't worry. Be happy.
Yeah, it's funny because it's the damn atheists that are always the ones not doing the thinking. They're the ones that are like, can we just make stuff up? You know what? Let's just decide that we're already right about everything and not think. That's atheists. That's what atheists do. They just pretend to already know all the stuff and then just make up stuff about what they would like to think is true, and then they don't do any thinking or any investigating of how the world actually works. They're just like, I already decided. It's called faith. I decided what I already like to think, and that's it.
That's the existential trap that so many young people have found themselves in. I'm going to smoke something, or I'm going to drink something. I'm not going to think too much because it confuses me, or it depresses me, or it scares me.
Or it's rude. Some people think it's rude to follow ideas to their logical conclusions and then come to firm convictions. They think it's kind of like judgy or something.
Because it's judgy. But even judging a person.
How is that? Hold on. I feel like maybe I'm sorry. I know I keep on. I feel like I'm missing the point.
Think too much because it confuses me, or it depresses me, or it scares me.
Or it's rude.
That's literally what Christians. Okay, you know what? Or it's rude to think too much.
Some people think it's rude to follow ideas to their logical conclusions and then come to firm convictions. They think it's kind of like judgy or something.
Because do you really think that you came to the logical conclusion after investigation that an undead carpenter ghost lives inside of you and tickles you when you sing songs about it? Because a woman made of a rib was convinced by a talking snake to eat a magical fruit, and that's why God had to sacrifice himself to himself in order to convince himself to save the world from himself. Like, really, man? You came to those logically. That's what happened. You were just asking the questions, and you're like, oh, well, here we go. Just following the evidence where it leads. Undead carpenters stand up. That's a thing. And they live inside you. They live inside your heart. Yeah. Because, you can't forgive stuff unless you torture murdered stuff.
Because it's judgy. But even judging a person for that is judgy.
You're right.
I don't know why you always have to be judging me.
Yeah, judging people for judging is what is actually judgy. Is that really what he just said?
Because I only believe in science.
So you've got to judge somewhere.
Because I only believe in science.
If you're not thinking that you ought to judge between good and bad, truth and error, don't have kids.
Yeah.
Because your children could have very, very bad, wicked, evil things happen to them. And you're going to kind of say, what? I don't really think about it, son. Hey, sweetie, there's really no such thing as good and evil.
This is why.
What? Who the fuck? Okay, this is another thing they like to say about atheists. It's that there is no such thing as good and evil. You know why they say that? Because we say there's no such thing as objective good or objective evil. Right, and that just means that there's nothing there is no any like good or evil at all. It's just I don't even know. It's things could be good or bad no matter what you do. You can kick a puppy, and that's just it's a coin toss as to whether or not that's good or evil. Jesus Christ, just because they don't understand the basics of like moral philosophy and ethics.
Bad, wicked, evil things happen to them, and you're going to kind of say, what? I don't really think about it, son.
Rex. What's up, dude? Rex Robot Wars here. What's up? So he's saying this as he smokes cigars and avoids thinking. Yeah, dude. I know. Well, and one of them just is smelling the cigar. It's getting kind of weird. I'm going to be honest, man. Can you fucking light that thing up? You're making me uncomfortable. And I don't know why did Kirk Cameron suggest to smoke a cigar and then just sniff it a lot. Like, like it's just his, well, never mind. I'm not going to, I was going to make an inappropriate joke, but I'm not going to.
Hey, sweetie, there's really no such thing as good and evil.
This is why the church has concluded that
if y'all want to like and subscribe, that'd be great. If you like what I do here, you can like the video with the little thumbs up thing down there. And if you want to keep getting videos like this, subscribe and ring the bell.
The existence of God can be known with certainty from the natural world merely by human reason. There's much more.
How? And with certainty? Are you fucking kidding me? No, like when he does this, he's basically what they're forced to do is question all epistemology. Well, how does anybody really know anything? You know, and it's like, imagine if somebody did that for fucking leprechauns. Like, hey, leprechauns are real, and you're like, yeah, I'm not convinced leprechauns are real. Do you have any evidence of leprechauns? They're like, hold on, what even is evidence in the first place, man? How do you know we're not just dreaming, huh? What about that? And then it's like, but what about the evidence of the leprechauns? Well, hold on, we're still trying to figure out like how to know anything at all. Okay, how do we know that we're not, you know, in a world where Descartes' evil demon is tricking us about everything? How do you know that? And it's like, wow, dude, okay, I feel like you just are proving that you don't have any evidence of fucking leprechauns now, do you? And they'll be like, no, you're the wrong one because of all the questioning of epistemology that I just did.
More to know from revelation, but the existence of God can be known with certainty.
And in the same way,
how, man? Can you demonstrate why anybody should be certain? He just keeps repeating that. He's like, you can logically deduce that it's, you know, it's reasonable to believe in a God and be certain about that. I'm not gonna. No, that's it. That's it. I'm done talking. I'm not gonna provide any like way of that. No, I'm just gonna say that there's a way to be certain of a God. That's it. That's my evidence, is telling you that you could be certain of a God existing, just logically speaking. And then he refuses to do it. And half the time because I've heard this a lot of times, what they end up doing is they just go back to a cause. It's just the Kalam cosmological argument, and they're just like, well, something had to cause us. Okay, and so that means that it's an undead carpenter ghost that lives inside of you because a woman made of a rib was convinced by a talking snake to eat a magical fruit, and that's why God had to sacrifice himself to himself in order to convince himself to save the world from himself? Because all of that does not follow from, hey, something had to happen for us to get here, you know? Must be because of talking fucking snakes and shit. Like, what?
For there to be good or evil, as the previous atheist said, your God must be an evil God if he lets children suffer. There must be a moral law.
That's it. Well, you're right on your way of Christian reasoning right there. Like, if you don't believe in the leprechauns, bro, you want to get tortured? Little red leprechauns. Yeah, there's the leprechauns and the leprechauns. Okay, and the leprechauns, they torture you for all eternity in a red place where they all live. They wear red, right? And then they got green hair. It's like reversed. You know, it's reversed. They have little green freckles and stuff, but they wear red. It's all backwards. Yeah, you know, they torture you in Leprechauntville. I don't know.
Giver for us to even posit anything as evil. Otherwise, someone could say that cancer is not bad, poverty is not bad.
Y'all literally are having to do that right now. You're having to say, well, it's not bad because maybe somebody learned a valuable lesson from the cancer. Okay, they learned to trust in God more, or whatever the fuck. It's like y'all are the ones that constantly have to go, well, suffering's not bad. Like, they literally will. They'll make that case constantly. Not only is suffering not bad, but they're like, it's just like working out. You know, so the cancer, you know, you're uncomfortable when you're working out, and what happens? You get stronger. That's right. That's what the unless it kills you, of course. You know, then it's kind of hurts my point there. But it's, you know, but do you get what I'm saying? You get, you know, bad stuff, sufferings. It's good a lot of times. So it's, you know, who's to say? Who's to say it's bad?
Just the way bacteria reacts at these temperatures.
Right now, go to hallow.com/Knowles. While the left pushes its...
What do you mean, what day? It's Saturday, okay? What are you talking? Like, why is he asking what day today is? That's ridiculous. What day? That's what WD stands for. Just so y'all know. That's the shorthand there. But what? That's not what... Well, what were you asking then? Was that a question? No, it's just it's a statement that is WD. Hold it. No, it's a statement. Yeah, he's trying to say I don't know. Why don't ask him? What the fuck? Heck, like what is? You're confusing the hell out of everybody here, and it's just okay. Sorry, it was a mistake. I think it was a typo. It was a typo. I think it was a typo. Sorry. False alarm. My bad.
Winter holiday propaganda, and corporations try to turn Christmas into nothing but a shopping spree. There is actually a profound ancient tradition that brings real meaning to this season. I am talking about
what is happening right now. Oh, there's an ad.
About Advent, baby. Advent, which is about a baby. It's about the incarnation. Now,
what?
Now, if you are like...
It's like Advent, baby. What the fuck? Don't say that. Don't use that word. Okay. Amy Grant will fucking cancel your face so goddamn quick.
Like me, and you want to really prepare your heart for the birth of Christ instead of just getting caught up in the secular happy holidays nonsense.
Nonsense. Other religions existing in harmony and everybody being able to celebrate their own thing. Poppycocks.
I have
I love that word, poppycocks. I want to, we need to bring it's just cock, just one cock. I'm sorry, not multiple cocks. I'd be getting just too sexual about that, but that's a poppy single cock.
What you need, and that is Hallow. Hallow is the #1 Catholic prayer and meditation app. They've created something extraordinary for Advent. They're launching their Advent Pray 25 Challenge, and let me tell you, this is not just another meditation app. This is about connecting with God during one of the most sacred seasons of the year.
I don't know why I love so much that Michael Knowles is like, I don't know, is there a God app? Like, I'll sell a Get Closer to God app on your phone. So it's like, what does it do? It fucking prays for you or something. It's like, here's how you pray. Do we want to pray about faith today? What do you want to do? You want to do some faith? Okay, well, we got more options here. If you don't want to pray about faith, I think that's a good one, but we can move on. Like, what the fuck could this possibly be?
What I love about Hallow is they understand the difference between real Christmas music and commercial jingles that you hear at the mall.
No true Scotsmaning fucking Christmas music now. Wow, dude. Really? You're like, oh, that's not real Christian music or Christmas music. Like, what the...
They have both Advent and Christmas.
This is like arguing about Die Hard. If it's a Christian movie. Why do I keep saying Christian? If it's a Christmas, it's not a Christian movie, by the way. Die Hard is not. It's not a Christian movie. But like, whether it's a Christmas movie or not, you're like, it's not a true Christmas movie. Go fuck. Yes, it is. Okay, it is. But that doesn't change the fact that it's the best movie. That's it. Just in general, Die Hard is the best movie.
This music, yes, there's a difference. Yes, both are magnificent. Join me on Hallow for daily prayers, meditations, and guidance from some of the most profound spiritual leaders of our time. Here's the best part. Hallow is offering my list.
It's got a little cartoon of a guy, of a priest. And you know what? I would say it's actually safer to do it this way. If you got children, maybe let them do the Catholic religion through the phone. Priests have a lot harder time. It's not impossible, but they have a harder time SAing your child. Okay, they can still do it with dick pics and stuff like that, but it'd be harder to do it. I think put up a little bit of a barrier between the rapist and your child.
Listeners, 3 months completely free when you go to hallow.com/Knowles, KNWLES, HALLOW.com/Knowles, KNWLES, for 3 months free. Join the Advent Challenge, grow in your faith. Let's celebrate this season the way it was meant to be celebrated.
Something that we don't talk about enough, I feel like, is the fact that, at least to my end, I don't think you can choose to be an atheist. Like, there was a period in my life where
Did you see it? His eye is like boing out. Oh, we gotta see that. He's like, what? Like he was doing like a Jim Carrey, the Mask. Hold on. Let's see that again. Oh, what did I just do? Well, I turned the sound off is what I just did.
About enough, I feel like, is the fact that, at least to my end, I don't think you can choose to be an atheist. Like, there was a period in my life
That's great.
where I feel like I wanted to be a Christian, but it was like, it's not possible. Like, if you don't believe, you just don't believe, and you can't choose whether or not to believe. Like, really?
Yeah, you can lie to yourself all you want, but like, it's really hard to knowingly lie to yourself. You know what I mean? You'd be like, okay, well, I'll just pretend. Is that what you want me to do? You want me to lie to myself and just pretend and like knowingly lie to myself and be like, well, I'm just going to decide if all this stuff is true because I'd like it to be. Like, that's not how thinking works. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how anything works at all. But the sad thing is, I think a lot of Christians actually do it that way, and it's almost like that's what they call faith. It's like sometimes the faith doesn't feel good. Okay, you got doubts, and you got to power through. Okay, sometimes you're not going to feel it in your heart, and you got to just power through. And like mostly that's meaning like, this sounds fucking stupid, but I kind of invested in being a Christian, so I'm not going to ever say that it's fucking stupid. And I'm just, anytime there's like, yeah, but how would I know that this is actually true, and why would I believe that a guy actually came back to life, back in the day when people reporting such things would again be messed up by a card trick They would think somebody was magical if they did a fucking card trick. But like, and then those thoughts are like, yeah, just shut up. Don't think those. Just keep on. Just decide not to pay attention to that stuff. Like they want you to do that. They want you to ignore your critical thinking in your brain. And so, you know, when you say you can't choose to be an atheist, that kind of messes with them. They're like, what are you talking about? I choose to be a Christian all the time. Yeah, I choose to be like, yeah, I know it doesn't make sense, but I believe it anyway. You know, they don't admit that, but you know what I mean? So that's why I think a lot of times he's so baffled. Kirk Cameron's so baffled by the notion of like, oh, you don't choose to be an atheist. I did not want to be an atheist. Are you fucking kidding me? Hell no. Like, I'm like, well, yeah, I'd love to like not get along with my family. You know, I love to like not be a part of like the, I don't know, almost like the little get out of jail free card, like just a way to like be seen as a more moral person just because you believe a certain thing, you know, by like the vast majority of people. Yeah, I don't want that. I want to be seen as a fucking, you know, I don't know, some sodomite or some shit, you know, from these people or whatever. No, you know, I remember being like, when I was deconverting, like going, I want to be a Christian. Like, I want to think this stuff. I want to think that it is normal and reasonable to believe that this stuff is true and just decide that it is true. But you know, unless I'm going to sit here and keep lying to myself. And I knew I was lying to myself, you know? And so you know, but I think that's why they're like, well, it's crazy. Of course you could decide to believe stuff. What are you talking about? Like, we get people to decide to believe stuff all the time, especially ones, you know, like when they're in the audience and the pastor's like, whatever you're going through, you know, whatever disasters are in your life right now, God has an answer. He won't make it easier, but he will. I mean, he'll say like, he won't make the problems go away, but he will make them easier to deal with. And so it's like they, you know, the whole thing trying to get you to be like, oh, okay, cool, I'll just decide to be a Christian then, you know. It's like, as I'm being emotionally manipulated in the audience of people or whatever at a service that was emotionally arousing. Nah, let's not go with emotionally arousing. It was just emotional. Let's just go with that. And so that, you know, got me all worked up. And now I'm, you know, I'm desperate. And then now I've got this emotional rise, you know, this rise of emotion or whatever. And now that they're telling me that they can solve all my problems, or at least make my problems a little bit easier to solve if I just decide that something is true right here and now and stand up in the audience. And then once I stand up in the audience, well, they pretty much got you. Because then that, you know, like, but you stood up and everything, so you're a Christian. You just, that's why they are like, no, you can't not decide to be an atheist. That's crazy. Like, we decide to be Christians all the time. And so I don't think they understand how that whole thing works, because they're actively lying to themselves on such a regular fucking basis. They can't even tell the difference.
Religious people often frame someone's lack of belief as some sort of active refusal, but that's not really how it works. Like, even if I wanted to, and there was a time that I really did, I wouldn't be able to. I wasn't able to. Like, it's genuinely not up to me. Like, my brain just won't believe in things that are patently ridiculous. I don't control that.
He looks so funny. I don't know why. It's just, his face is just, it's anyway.
Have an easier time trying to convince me the tooth fairy was real.
Well, she makes one good point, which is you can't make yourself believe something that you don't believe to be true. But I do wonder when she says it's patently ridiculous. Okay, if her problem is really one of belief, and I'm not convinced it is, it might be a problem of behavior, it might be a problem of vices that maybe cloud the intellect and that she wants to hold on to, but without speculating on any of that. If she really wants to believe.
Oh, see, what does that mean? Because already he's like saying, it might not be a problem of intellect. She might be like, it might be a problem of behavior, because she wants to do a behavior, and a belief in a fucking God would inhibit that behavior. Like, no, the fuck it wouldn't. I never understand this. Like, isn't Christianity the religion that basically says that you can get saved no matter what? You know, like, I feel like if you were doing any kind of behavior, you could always just be like, well, I'll just get saved. You know, I'll just ask forgiveness. Then I can do the behavior. It doesn't matter. Like, it does, like, having done the behavior or whatever, it doesn't matter. But I don't know.
Believe,
or unless saying they like, no, the people won't accept me or whatever. That's another one that I think they throw around, because they're like, oh, you know, then the gay person would not be allowed to, you know, be treated like a normal human being. and also be gay. And so they think that that's a reason to just not believe in God. But there are plenty of gay Christians. And anyway.
And she wants to avail herself of these ideas. Has she read the church fathers? Has she read the doctors of the church? Has she at the very least exposed?
Kirk has not read the church fathers. He doesn't believe in church father. Like, I don't know what he's even talking. Like, what is he talking about? Read the fathers. Is there like an extra Catholic book that's like, oh, and here's the books of the fathers?
Herself to the great arguments for religion.
Probably not.
John said, when you threaten people with violence like a mobster, you can get them to do anything. Yeah, that is true. It's like, I can't remember where it was like with torture or something like that. And there were, there was like a whole dialogue about whether or not they should torture people for information, right? And the end of the debate, whatever they like ended up with, no, you shouldn't torture people for information. And the reason is because people will tell you anything to get you out of being tortured. So it doesn't necessarily need to be true. Like, they'll just tell you whatever you need. They think that you'll believe so that you'll stop torturing them. That's it. It does not work. It's not, the waterboarding thing and all that type of stuff. We realized not a good idea. Not a good plan. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. You'll just say whatever in order to I guess, not go to hell. I don't know, but I guess what you're doing, you're like putting it in that terms of like they're threatening you with hell, but they're also threatening you with heaven. If you do it's like extra, it's like a double whammy of manipulation. Like, not only do you not get to get tortured for all eternity, which kind of sucks, but you also get to go to a golden amusement park in the sky with all your friends and family for all eternity. So choice is yours. What do you want to believe? Okay. What do you want to think? Do you want to believe in the magical amusement park with your family for all eternity? Or do you want to believe something that gets you tortured? Huh? What do you choose? Which would you rather,
Expect that she probably hasn't. But I also think that she's telling the truth. Not that these things are patently ridiculous, because
they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah, you believe in a talking donkey, man, and the woman made of a rib and all that type of stuff. Remember?
No, they are the definition and standard of truth that we believe. But
oh God, he's so funny. They just, no, it's not patently ridiculous. I've already decided that the entire Bible is just the definition of truth. So it's not. It's patently exactly not ridiculous. It's patently awesome, right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because they just have defined what they'd like to think is like what they have want to believe is true as truth itself. They'll literally say Jesus said that he is the truth, and that is how they define truth. And then whether or not something comports with reality, that's a completely different kind of thing. That's we're not talking about that. We've whether or not the book comports with reality has nothing to do with whether or not it is truth. It is absolute truth, and it's unquestioned. You never question it. It's crazy that they do that. Wolfos, what's up, dude? Hey, Kurt is far too old to be watching TikTok. I kind of agree with that one. Is that how it's spelled? TikTok? T-I-C? Have I been spelling it wrong this whole time? Is it T-I-C-T-O-K? I really need to know this because it kind of needs to be spelled correctly for hashtags to work and stuff like that. Anyway, and Sam should be ashamed of himself for subjecting this man lost to time. Oh, who am I kidding? These two dingbats. Dingbats. That's good. I think, I forgot about that as an insult. Dingbat. That's good. My grandma used to call people dingbat. Anyway, are going to hate anything that isn't them. What? Who is Sam? I don't know a Sam. Who's Sam? Are you saying Michael Knowles? Or is that? Anyway, but yeah, no. I agree. I agree with you. They are going to hate anything that isn't already what they want to think, whatever, it's kind of what they do. Deep State, hey, what's going on? He said, they put up with all of Donald Trump's disgusting evil and vices, and they don't believe Donald Trump's ugliness is a barrier. And said he never asked for forgiveness. Yeah, that was a funny one. Like, I remember seeing, there was a video where these Christians were trying so fucking hard to get Trump to just be like, yeah, I need God, like I need Christ, whatever. And they were talking about like what you have to do to get saved, and one of the things that you have to do is to repent. And I'd be like, oh, I'm a wretched sinner. I need to be saved. Yada, yada. And he's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I actually don't need to do that. I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. Yeah. And like they could not. And it was like he did not understand that was like the basis of their entire fucking religion that he was just rejecting outright. But anyway, it was quite funny. And the clip is still, I'll have to find it somewhere. See if I can find that clip. It was really funny. But let me see. Baba Ali said, but then again, in this case, the burden of proof falls on Mikey to prove that these behaviors or vices even exist, let alone work the way he alleges. Yeah, they don't. That is a good point, because he's just sort of making stuff up, because that's what they have to do to sort of rationalize around why people don't, why people aren't convinced that a God exists, and they want to act like it's so normal. Like the people that don't believe that a God exists are somehow believing that everything just popped into existence from nothing, when that's literally what they believe, because they believe nothing created God and God created everything out of nothing. That's the universe just popping into existence from fucking nothing. But yet they levy that towards atheists. It's amazing. It's incredible how they do this sort of stuff. It's fascinating. But, where are we at here? All right, let me go down. Wait, Wolf said, oh, saying hi. All right.
I think she is correct in that she can't force herself to believe. I believe, from my theological framework, that there are profound truths.
From my theological framework, see, this is what I'm saying. Like he's just saying, like, did he say I choose to believe?
Correct, in that she can't force herself to believe. I believe, from my theological framework, that
I believe from my theological framework, which to me just sounds like I've already decided to think that from my theological framework. That's what decides what is real for me.
There are profound truths behind unbelief. And I think that the person who is proud of heart, who is hard of heart, is incapable, because they are dead in their trespasses and sins. They are blind. Yeah. And what they need is sight. I never found God when I became a Christian. I believe that I was the one who was lost and he had to find me. He opened my eyes and saved me.
Yeah.
And that's what I pray.
So yeah, because this is what they always got to do. It's like, the reason, like it's go back to the leprechauns thing, right? If someone came up to me and were like, hey, believe in leprechauns, and I go, no, I'm not convinced leprechauns are true. I'm like, okay, look, hey, leprechauns got to find you. Okay, you have a hardened heart, buddy. Okay, that's what that is. You don't want to believe in leprechauns because you know that leprechauns hold people to higher standards. All right, so that means you got to stop drinking. Not drinking. They love drinking. I don't know why I used that. Was a terrible analogy. It's masturbating. They do not like people masturbating. It freaks them out, weirds them out. They do love drinking, but not watching people masturbate. It freaks them out. And that's why you don't believe in leprechauns. It's absurd, and you can just see that it's just like it kind of just. It's one of those things that only seems to make sense or seem like it makes sense to people that have already that are like religious, and that's it, because they're just like they see it as any kind of doubt in their minds. It's like, oh, I can't, don't think about the doubt, and because it's a way of like making you feel guilty for thinking critically, you know what I mean? And it's like, if you are like, hold on, maybe the religion is all bullshit. Oh, I'm so sorry, I should not, why did I think that? No, don't think that was bad brain, bad. Don't think that. Don't think the dowdy thoughts. That's evil and bad. And so they then like put that on everybody else and go, that's why people don't believe. It's because, they're falling for the sin or whatever of thinking critically.
God would do for this young lady.
Yep, totally agree. Next one.
As an atheist, you're still religious. How so? Well, you believe in science. You worship science. Your God is science. Our science, who art in reality, hallowed be thy facts. Thy studies come, thy proof be done, in time as it is in space. Please stop. And lead us not to fairy tales, but deliver us from mythos. For thine is the kingdom, the phylum, and the species, forever and ever.
The kingdom, the phylum, and the species.
Amen.
Okay, that's awesome. I need to find that TikTok. That is, I want to favorite that one. They have like a little thing in TikTok where you can make it your favorite. It's adorable. I want to favorite that one. That's my point.
Wow, that was creative.
Yeah, it was creative. It was a little try hard, I would say.
Oh, it's a little try hard, is it? Is it too much planning there? Yeah, you're right. You never fall for that, do you? That's why you end up doing this with this fucking genius over here. Yeah, you're like too much planning. That's just, he actually sounds like me. I'm like, what do they write their whole fucking video? Losers. You should just put on a video and then say stuff while you're doing it. I have ADHD. It's really hard to plan stuff. Anyway,
because I wouldn't say that the scientific atheists, well, I don't think they're all that scientific anyway, but they're not religious in that religion is a habit of virtue that inclines the will to give to God what he deserves. So they're irreligious.
What was those fucking words that just fell out of his face?
I wouldn't say that the scientific atheists, well, I don't think they're all that scientific anyway, but they're not religious in that religion is a habit of virtue that inclines the will to give to God what he deserves.
Okay. They're not. Oh, so he doesn't have, that's right, because he's Catholic. He doesn't have the whole stigma of the word religion in his mind, I guess. It's hilarious because a lot of times Christians do this weird thing where they're like, and they don't get that it sounds like an acknowledgement that what they believe is stupid. They do this thing where they're like, you're actually religious. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. They say stuff like that. And it's like, they don't get that they sound like, they're like, yeah, because religion is, you believe a stupid thing and that's religion. And your religion is like the stupid stuff you believe. And it's like, they don't get that they're making, like, they're just showing how they're admitting that religious thought is stupid and they agree with it being stupid, right? And that faith is stupid and faith is not a good way to come to conclusions or whatever. And so then they just think that as long as they can flip it back on you, that somehow that, that's not proving that they believe themselves that faith and religion are dumb or whatever. I don't know. It's just, it's funny how that works. But like, he's not doing that. He's saying that religion is some virtuous thing to give God the honor he's due or some stupid shit. What the fuck?
So I wouldn't say that the scientific atheists, well, I don't think they're all that scientific anyway, but they're not religious in that religion is a habit of virtue that inclines the will to give to God what he deserves. So
the habit, okay, I'm not going to repeat it.
So they're irreligious, they're not, but they do accept as a matter of blind faith, not even reasonable faith, certain things, which are built.
It's the conspiracy music. Remember this? Remember the videos back in the day with that? It's the woman in the red dress from The Matrix. If you put that song in, it used to be the every single fucking conspiracy video on YouTube, and now it's that whatever the fucking, you know what I'm talking about, the TikTok one
on Christianity, and they're not even aware of that. I guess they're not even aware that their supposedly logical thinking and their empirical observations really are grounded upon certain unprovable premises. For one, that the things that we perceive are real. Two, that your faculties of reason are reliable. Three, that there is such a thing as objective truth. All those premises have implications for the existence of God. They're standing on the shoulders of giants.
No, they don't, man. Like, those are just acknowledgments of like how humans are capable of knowing things or not. These are just like, it's just like philosophy basically. But every single person, whether you believe in God or not, is subject to those same truths or whatever. The fact that like, yeah, if you get down to what, like a fundamental level, like it's basically the limits of epistemology, just the limits of our certainty, which is what I was talking about before with Descartes, where you're saying that like there could be an evil demon that is tricking me all the time, and it's a powerful demon that can like alter my reality and make me think things are true, and I can't be sure that that's not happening. And then you go from that, okay, I can't be sure that that isn't happening, to the next step. And yeah, you could say like I base my conclusions off of the evidence, but they're like, well, but all reality might just be feeding you information. It's like, okay, but functionally speaking, I basically need to presuppose, in order for us to even have a dialogue about what is true and what isn't true, that the laws of logic work, right? And they lead to reasonable conclusions, that reality is real, and we are all experiencing the same reality, right? And yeah, my senses aren't perfect, but not perfect and not able to absorb anything are two completely different things, right? There are ways to figure out if you are being deceived or not, and have a pretty reasonable amount of confidence in that, based on nothing but evidence and things like that. Yeah, they have, see what I'm saying? Like, they have to do this thing where they're like, I question all evidence. I was literally just talking about this a second ago. They're like, how do anybody even know anything, really? You know, if you do that, you've lost. You know, like, if I'm just asking for evidence, they're like, how do you know you're not a brain in a vat being fed information from fucking robots in the future? Huh? And they programmed that lady with the red dress to walk past you, and then when you looked and you look back, there's the agent with the gun in your face. That's right. How do you know that's not? Like, what the fuck? Like, okay, you lose the conversation, dude. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, if you have to do that in order to be like, you know, as a response to somebody just asking for evidence of your God, you fucking lose. All right.
The founders, even of much of the scientific revolution, who were deeply Christian, most of them, and they think that they're flying.
I got a comment recently asking why
is that
I make the sort of content I do, asking why I choose to define myself by that
was framed, right?
Which I don't believe, comparing identifying myself as an atheist to someone who doesn't collect
it is. That's Eve was framed. That's awesome. Good for her.
Stamps, calling themselves
she made it to the Daily Walk. Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, Eve was framed.
Non-stamp collector. Imagine if more than half of the country you lived by that which I don't believe.
I'm Christian, most of them, and they think that they're flying.
Oh, by the way, yeah, just because Christians used to also believe in science has nothing to do with Christianity being based in science or being scientific or anything like that. Christianity was just so common and everything back in the day, mostly because like there was a whole time period where people were like ridiculed and outcasted and sometimes killed for not being Christians. Yeah, the scientists were usually in those time periods going to also be Christian. Right. But either way, it doesn't, you know, anyway.
Got a comment recently asking why I make the sort of content I do, asking why I choose to define myself by that which I don't believe, comparing identifying myself as an atheist to someone who doesn't collect stamps, calling themselves a non-stamp collector. Imagine if more than half of the country.
That was I got stuck on that one the other. That's funny. A non-stamp collector. I remember I was like, off is not a TV channel. Bald is not a hair color. And then I got stuck the other day. I was like, what the fuck? There's something with stamps or something. And so it's not collecting stamps as a hobby. That's what it was. Anyway, yeah, that's.
You lived in was made up of stamp collectors, with the majority of these stamp collectors believing that anybody who doesn't collect stamps is going to be eternally tormented. And many of their leaders made millions of dollars off their fellow stamp collectors through tithes and offerings. Imagine if stamp collectors became well known for their bigotry, their attacks on democracy, their support and protection of known and their inability to value consent. Imagine all of this. And then when you ask to see their stamp collection, they open up the book and there's nothing. The pages are blank and they tell you, have faith. When you die someday, you'll see the stamps. You too might start calling yourself a non-stamp collector.
I guess the only problem.
That was pretty good, actually. I gotta say that was very well. That was thought out. I like that a lot. She put a lot of thought into that one. That was pretty good. That was interesting. Because I mean, that is the thing. Like I can't tell you how often people come to me and they're like, why do you guys do? You know, why do you care so much? My first like answer to that is, I don't know, man. I was like homeschooled and like indoctrinated to all fucking get out by people that told me I have to be thinking about God's existence all the goddamn time as a child. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of just still bouncing around in there or something. I don't know. Yeah, I don't believe that it's true anymore, but it's still like I was almost as if I was programmed to think about this shit all the fucking time by my parents. But that, and then, yeah, the fact that like they're literally using their religion to limit people's rights and try to force everybody to live in accordance with them. And all this shit, you know, and it's so, yeah, I kind of have to take a very special interested approach to non-belief because of that fact.
Problem with that analogy is every part of it. I don't know.
Is every part of it.
Imagine if a tuna fish suddenly sang out the songs of Puccini.
Wow, so you literally don't understand the metaphor at all. What is a fish? And that's not a fish, by the way. That's the thing from Black Lagoon, or the creature from Black Lagoon. You know, can't even do the fucking thing right. Like they mess up with what a fish is. But yeah, they clearly don't. They clearly don't know the what the metaphor meant at all. because he's just like, that was just gobbledygook. She was just talking about a tuna fish sandwich, singing a song from within the ocean of the tuna. How is this analogous? AI is starting to piss me off. What the fuck? Holy shit, it's still going. It's still going.
Like, okay, I can imagine that, but that's not apt. You know, it doesn't really.
Right.
No, that wasn't apt at all. But what she was saying was, did you miss the whole concept of what she was saying? She was saying like why people would say like if you're a non-stamp collector, you're just someone that doesn't collect stamps. Why would you talk about not collecting stamps so often? And then she went on to describe exactly why and how that's related. Holy shit. And it was really good. And they're just like, I've got nothing. I got nothing. You know what I am going to do? I'm going to just act like I got everything and then just say it's completely nonsense and not even address it really at all.
But however, you know, she's articulate enough to take, you know, if you're following her all the way through this, well, I could see how that could persuade some people. I'm not saying it's good. It's a good argument. I don't think.
Yeah, because you don't know what an argument is at all. But you know, it is.
She says, you know, the stamp collecting organizations or the churches, and they don't pay taxes, and they make a lot of money, and they wield a lot of power. And I think, okay, well,
and that's why she has to be very purposeful and self-describing as a non-stamp collector. And just, you know, encourage other people to also be non-stamp collector. Like, because that's the whole thing is like, if it's something that you don't believe, why are you so into it? It's like they don't understand that whole premise of like what she was doing.
Churches don't have to pay taxes. They are targeted by the government. They're spied on by the current administration. But I think, what about just regular lib nonprofit?
He said Eve was framed and censored. That's right. She was. You know, she wasn't allowed to speak and say her mind. Wolfo said, so when he has an analogy, we are supposed to accept it, but when given a great analogy, he casts it off as bad. Yeah, that's exactly what they just did. And just choosing to just act like, and it's crazy that this is a big channel. He's got over 1 million subscribers, and I mean, have y'all like? Do you think that they've made some serious great points here in? As far as like a response to all these atheist TikToks, or no, like what? Like I feel like all they've done is completely like misunderstand or just obfuscate every single one of these, and just say that they got their best evidence and it's, you know, logical and everything, but they're not going to tell you what it is or anything. But I don't know. This is just
profits and NGOs. They rake in tons of money.
Right.
They also don't pay taxes. They're talking about some sexual abuse scandals which have existed in the church in actually different ecclesial communities. But
a lot. I mean, if there's SA of minors happens within religious circles and from religious people more often than like any other demographic, and it makes good sense for multiple reasons. One of which is that they get to be seen as a moral person just for believing shit. That's, you know, I could see how that would attract some really, really, really bad people. Second is they're obsessed with forgiveness. Wonder why, you know, it's weird. That would also attract some really, really, really bad people. They're looking for fucking forgiveness, aren't they? And wanting to put everybody on the same moral standing, right? So yeah, it attracts some pretty bad people, just saying.
But I think, okay, well, the rates of sexual abuse in public schools are twice the rate of that in Catholic churches or the Baptists.
Well, folks, that they have successfully. It's an odd usage of the word successfully, but but apt as well. But yeah, so they have successfully missed every point presented to them. Just full stop. Yeah, they have not fucking made a single point here that has not been utterly idiotic or just purposefully misunderstanding what the people are saying.
Or even other religions.
And if it weren't for Christians and their standards of morality, I think that the rate of sexual abuse would be skyrocketing.
You're right, of course. It wouldn't even be considered a problem.
Of that.
Right.
And like, but we decided what all morality even was. So it's, you know, there would be, if without our deciding what moral standards are, because there were no moral standards at all before Christians existed. Fucking Christ, man. Like, Hinduism predates Christianity. Did you borrow all your morality from Hinduism? because you managed to steal the golden rule from Hinduism, or like, and had a slightly different version of it. And I'd actually argue that the Hindu version of it was better, because it, seems to, anyway. But yeah, no, man, no, you don't. I love how they think that, though, that there's like, ours is the basis of all right and wrong. It's like, no, I get you need to think that, but that's not accurate in any way, shape, or form.
And then I guess the other real problem is that collecting stamps is trivial.
Exactly. That's the big problem.
And asking, who are we? What are we for? What is good and bad? And what is the end?
It's like, fucking take it, Granny, again. Oh my God. It's like, how many heads did you do here? 1, 2. I'm not going to count them all. There's a lot of angry heads there, though, just swearing, doing a lot of swearsies. Jesus Christ.
Of man is not trivial. That's something every person naturally and inevitably confronts.
There was, whether it's trivial or not, has nothing to do with the point that she was making. The point she was making was, why do you care so much about not believing a thing, right? And then she answered, and she said, in that analogy even, that the stamp collecting thing wasn't trivial. In fact, there was a whole group of people that were stamp collectors, or claimed to be stamp collectors, that, I don't know, were forcing people to have to live certain ways through legal means because of their obsession with stamp collecting, right? So in the analogy, it wasn't trivial. So you know what I mean? It's just, oh God, it's like, what the
my favorite
Unreal.
Was probably the nerdy
Danny Jenny, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? All right, good. I'm glad you made it. And Deep State said, and citation needed when they claim that children are harmed in public schools more than in church. Yeah, no, the fuck they're not. That's not true. And it really makes me sick, because I've heard people make arguments about being homeschooled, and say that oh, you need to be homeschooled because kids get abused at school or whatever. There's a mechanism in public schools for addressing situations like that. It's not to say that it doesn't happen, but it's just a numbers game. If you have, public school, every kid's by law has to go to school. I mean, so that's millions and millions of kids. Of course, something's going to happen at some point, but the point is there is a mechanism in place to address those things. And there is no such mechanism in religion. In fact, we've seen that there's a lot of mechanisms that hide that sort of thing, right? And just move those priests around, and I don't know, shame or kick out people that make the claims in the first place, and then say that they're evil, whores and liars or whatever. So there's a lot of mechanisms that do the opposite. But yeah, it makes me sick with the public school thing, though, when they say that shit about abusing kids, and then be like, that's a reason to homeschool your kids, where you got no mechanism at all to address it. If there is, imagine that if there's an abuse situation happening and you're homeschooled, who the fuck are you going to tell? Your abuser? Hey, you're abusing me, I need to go to HR or whatever the fuck. What are you going to go to the goddamn guidance counselor? Guess what? That's the abuser too. Shit. Yeah. Fuck, man. It's a nightmare if you're being abused in those types of situations. But I'm not going to go into all that, because it's kind of a letdown, actually. It's kind of,
pro science guy, because it was try hard enough that at least he prepared for it. It's between him and the black.
Unlike you, that didn't prepare literally anything. In fact, somebody clearly came after the fact and AI'd a singing fish for something that literally made no sense, that you clearly made up on the goddamn spot. And they went back and tried to help you with your nonsense analogy just because you didn't understand the analogy. But anyway, that's crazy. Lieutenant Janice said, the California Catholic Church just paid out $500 million for that. $500 million on that shit. Fuck it. That, I mean, if that's not an admission of extreme guilt, I don't know what to, I don't know what to do with you, And this isn't the only time this has happened. It's constant. I always tell people this, if you just Google this week, right now, priest, preacher, pastor, or youth pastor, right? An assault or essay of a minor, right? Whatever. Put that in. I guarantee you're going to get something from at least within the past 10 days. There will be something reported within the past 10 days that had happened, right? You don't get that for any other demographic when it comes to assaulting minors in that way. Anyway.
Guy who is just like, oh man, I don't care. I don't think about any of this stuff, man. And I thought, well,
That
there's some
wasn't
honesty
even-
there at least.
That wasn't even an atheist TikTok, you fucking dishonest fuck.
It's all right. Okay.
The one that's standing out in my mind was the first girl with the dark circles under her eyes and the short haircut, and she
and dark circles under her eyes. Okay, she smoked a little bit. That's, you know, that I've been there. All right, I've been there. It happens. It's all right. It's a byproduct of smoking too much of the Jeeba.
talked about the mean daddy figure.
Yeah.
And I just can't help but feel I want to remember her in my prayers tonight.
Yeah.
Oh God, can you not just, you know, and put the cigar down, you know, using it as a fucking pointer is not helping here. Okay. We're not taking you more seriously because you're just, you know, hands in the fucking, the fucking cigar the whole time. Look at him holding it. Like, he's like, yeah, and I'm serious about that. You know, like like he's making a point with it. It's just,
yeah. That was probably the realest
heart
one.
went out to
Probably.
her.
Yeah. I agree.
because she brought up the daddy thing, and so my brain, because I'm not actually listening to any of the points that the videos are making. I hear daddy and I go, she's got daddy issues. That's why she said the word daddy. And I've just decided that is what's going on here, and that's all I'm going to think about or respond to. So
I agree. It's a good thing to do. Good thing to pray.
Fucking
Even better
weirdo.
than arguments. Ultimately. See you next time.
This is a news story talking about the existence of atheist megachurches. I mean, what do you do?
Oh my God, I've seen this guy. This is, wow, this dude hit big time. This is Tim Hawkins, and I saw he came to my church, Calvary Chapel. I used to have every single video that he stopped judging me. I just stop looking at me like that. I can feel your stare, okay? And I don't yes, I had every single one of this guy's.
There, do you sing worship songs?
And yeah, I loved it. I gotta say, he was my favorite. Anyway, all right, back to what did I do? Anyway,
An atheist church? What do you say? Like, evolution, this I know, for Charles Darwin told me so. Accidentally alive. If you're weak, you won't survive.
wow. Yeah, that's Tim Hawkins.
That's the logic, right? That's what they're saying.
That's the logic, right? No, God, they're so dumb. They think that we believe that people that believe in evolution. This is like saying we only know that gravity is true because of Isaac Newton, right? You know, that's the only. Isaac Newton said it. No, and that's all we got. That's it. That's the only evidence. That's the only thing we just name drop. When people are like, well, how do you know gravity's real? We're like, because of fucking Newton. You're gonna challenge my name drop like that? Huh? There's no other reason to believe stuff. Just that Isaac Newton said it. That's it. No, man. Just because Isaac Newton fucking said it has nothing to do with it's all of the evidence that Isaac Newton basically presented. And then after that, everybody kept presenting the evidence. It has nothing to do with the people that did the presenting. It has everything to do with the fucking evidence. Okay? It doesn't matter. Darwin doesn't matter. It's the fucking evidence. And Darwin's old. We've moved so far past everything that Darwin said, to the point where his was just sort of the baseline of the model. It's he got a lot of things wrong and we figured that out. If we were just believing it because he said so, we wouldn't be saying that he got a bunch of stuff wrong, because that's not how that would work. We'd just be like, I don't know, he said it and I got faith that it's true and that's it. No, man, we update our positions based on new information and so on and so forth ad infinitum, and it'll keep on updating forever. Anyway, how y'all doing? Okay, feeling good. What's what? Hey, tons of mice. What's up, dude? So ask yourself, what would Mike Seaver do? Well, because I don't know, since I don't know who that is, I don't feel like the answers in my mind would help very much, you know. But I always ask myself, what would Gator Bodine do? You know, Gator Bodine. That's right. You know who Gator Bodine was? He was the bad guy in Homefront. I don't even know. It's a really small, just weird reference there, but I love the name Gator Bodine. That's just great. Whoever wrote that, like, that was the best writing of that fucking movie. He was like, and the guy's name is Gator Bodine, and they're like, holy shit, we got to make a fucking movie. Can we get Jason Statham in this shit? Gator Bodine. You need to make a movie right now. Holy shit. Movie sucks. It sucks. But Gator Bodine, that's a fucking name if I've ever heard one. Sounds like I don't know, sounds like a Marvel character or something. It's brilliant. It really is. I can't believe I'm still talking about this name. What else we got here? Oh, let's see. Well, that was terrible. That was good. Yeah, no, it was. I mean, I'd expect nothing less from the king of cringe, Michael Knowles. That's right. Manages to get more cringy than me. And that's hard to do. That's hard to do. Between, what I react to and me, it's just, a lot of cringe. John said, I can manipulate God with my prayers too. Yeah, prayer is another thing that I was just thinking about that earlier when they were talking about like God knowing what you choose. And so that kind of relinquishes your choice at all. But it's like, why do people pray? Because if there's always a plan and the plan cannot be changed or altered because God has planned everything, why do you pray? And then the really funny thing about that is half the time they pray that his will be done. And I'm just like, why was that necessary? Well, what's the fucking point of even saying anything? You're like, oh, by the way, just whatever's going to happen. Can you please happen? All right. Glad I prayed that. Why? What the fuck was the point of that shit? It's like, hey, whatever's going to do, just keep doing, whatever's going to happen, please happen. All right, good. Glad that I prayed that. Fucking what the hell? But there's absolutely no reason to pray if there's already a plan in place. And it's like, they'll bring up stuff like that. The weird time that Jesus was racist. Remember that? And they'll be like, but what can't you, what was she saying? She's like, oh yeah. He's like, the Son of Man did not come, for the dogs called like Gentiles dogs. And then she was like, yeah, but even the dogs get to eat the scraps off the floor. And Jesus like, shit, that was a good damn. I didn't look at it that way. You're right. Gentiles, maybe they can get saved after I get tortured to death. Maybe I'll consider it. Maybe that's how I will save all of the Gentiles too, is getting tortured to death. And that'll do it. I just got to go to hell, grab some keys, or something for some reason, and then head to the mountain of Mordor, some type of volcano thing, I'm pretty sure, and throw the keys in there. Probably get your finger bit off by a demon or something while you're trying to do it. And then it's, and that fixes it. Now Gentiles, they could be saved. So that goes. And the logic is solid there. In the picture too. That's great. Thank you for that. Yeah. So I'm not that old. Okay. What do your face is what's old. Fucking calling me old. Hell no, man. I'm young. In comparison to the universe, young. All right. Act like said, don't waste another minute of your crying. Don't. Oh, that's a song. I feel like that's a song. Hold on. Show me. This is a song. You're singing. I don't know it because it's not a NoFX or Bad Religion song. Those are the only two bands I think I actually know lyrics of. Maybe some Rancid. I do know some Rancid lyrics. Some Op Ivy, Pennywise. I do know some Pennywise. Anyway, but I don't know those. Whatever those were, I don't know. Gary said, is theology a working theory or just a hypothesis? Neither. It's not even, I wouldn't even say it's a work. Is it a hype? Yeah, I don't think we can even really call it a hypothesis because it's not based on anything. It's based on wishful thinking and not an educated guess. So yeah, it's neither. That's why I would say, like with creationism, they're like, evolution's just a theory. And it's like, dude, fucking creationism isn't even that. Creationism isn't even, it's not even, it's like when you say a theory in science is very serious. But it's not even a hypothesis. It's not even anything. It's just that I decided this is real and that's it. We're done. I'm done thinking. That's what creationism is. It's I'd like to lie to children. That's really what creationism is. Can I just make up fucking bullshit to my kids so they can be convinced that donkeys talked and stuff through all of, high school, and then get mad at them when they don't do well in reality because I just brainwashed them into just saying yes to whatever I told them. And then they wonder why that's, it's kind of hard for kids that were raised that way to function in fucking society. You know what? We're going to move on. What, What's somebody else saying about stuff? Wolfo said, "Hey, Chucky D is in the house." Who's Chucky D? Oh, that's Chuck. Got it. Yeah, no, never thought of Charles Darwin going by Chuck, but I kind of like it though. I feel like he would have probably appreciated that. If you do that, Jesus will cry. It's baby Jesus. Okay, the adult Jesus doesn't cry because, well, crying is emasculating, and that would be a sin. So Jesus can't cry, right? I know that they have that one part about Jesus wept, but if you were about to be tortured to death, that is a different situation. Doesn't count. Okay. It's all other crying, just feminine, right? It's that red pill to Christ pill fucking reasoning there. What is it? Alex said sings. So you are singing. I've got pockets full of Kleenex and linen. Oh, there you go. I know this one. I do know that song. I've got pockets full of Kleenex and linen holes. Everything. Okay. Yeah, and that is a NoFX song. So I got that one. That was good. Y'all ever want to get my good graces? Just start, singing some fucking NoFX lyrics, and I'll be like, hey, all right. This chat is fun. I like this chat. It's doing all right. Baba said, as Aaron Ra would say, theology is just talking out of your peach. Oh, yeah, I got it. And he's absolutely right. He's very right about that. It's 100%. And if you want to, have something go in your butt, go to adamandeve.com. Enter code word Brentley at checkout to get 50% off almost any one item. 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. Go to adamandeve.com and enter code word Brentley. That's Brently at checkout. And get your exclusive offer. adamandeve.com is America's #1 sex toy dispensary. Save yourself a trip to the store. And, the packaging is discreet. It comes quickly. And, they got all sorts of good stuff. So go to adamandeve.com and enter that code word Brentley. Oh, and if you want to support the show, you can support us by supporting our sponsor, adamandeve.com, and entering that code word Brentley. Or you can do a bunch of other shit. Right? You can become a patron, but liking and subscribe. If you want to like first, actually, can we do that? The liking thing? I forget that. Every single time I forget the shit. But once you're done with that, if you want to do any of this other sporty stuff, I'd appreciate it. But seriously though, thank y'all so much for hanging out. This was a good one. I enjoyed this. I'm going to try to do some more of these just surprise pop-up live streams like this. I think they're, I enjoy it. I don't get a chance to do them too often, so it's kind of fun when they happen. But hey, the main thing though is to stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate, and we will see you next time.